crush it with Maize X canola. Maize X Seeds is 100% focused on Canadian farmers. Your source for high-performance grain, silage, and grazing corn, as well as soybeans and, new for 2026, canola. Visit maizex.com to find your local Maize X representative. Welcome to the Real Agri Studies podcast, the show where farmer voices meet the power of data. Here we break down the latest research from producers, dig into the trends shaping agriculture, and turn insights into action. Now here are your hosts, Shaun Haney and Justin Funk.
Shaun Haney and Justin Funk of RealAgristudies here for another episode of the RealAgristudies Insights panel podcast. We really appreciate everybody joining us and appreciate you, the Insights panel, for providing your perspectives, taking the time to answer some of our surveys to really allow the farmer to speak with one voice. Now, in the past, we've talked about the Canadian Farmer Sentiment Index. We've talked about some your thoughts on how Prime Minister Carney is doing in the first 180 days in office. Today, we're going to look at grain logistics, Justin, and farmers' confidence or their thoughts on basically the industry's ability to get grain and oilseeds from the farm to the port.
Yeah, you bet. So we actually finished the Canadian Farmer Sentiment Index survey with this set of questions. And the first question related to this was related to satisfaction with grain movement in Canada. And our conclusion here is that 44% indicate that they are satisfied with grain movement in Canada. The numbers vary quite a bit. We do have, I just want to point out at the bottom, does not apply to me. I do not ship grain, 7%. If you answered that question that way, then that took you to the end of the survey. And so the rest of the questions are just asked to the group that did indicate that their level of satisfaction. Just wanted to point that part out. So 44% are satisfied, Shaun.
Yeah, and this is a bit of a benchmark going forward, right? So as we, depending on how the grain shipping season goes from year to year, this allows us to contrast and compare. Either people are becoming more satisfied over time or less satisfied over time. 28%, just over a quarter, kind of neutral here on this topic. The biggest category was that somewhat satisfied at 38%, which I think they're not exuberant, but hey, you know what? We're doing pretty good is how I think how that sort of shakes out for me.
Yeah, you bet. So the next question is related to confidence in Canada's current grain handling system's ability to efficiently manage large crop volumes. And so this is a confidence-based question, 5-point scale. And what we learned here is that 21% feel that they are either extremely or very confident. Only 3% extremely confident. So really the confidence lies there in the very confident. And then again, a lot of neutrality on this one. 52% said that they were somewhat confident, with the balance there in the non-confident camp.
Yeah, but also, Justin, I think one of the positives out of this, if you are in the grain logistics, grain transportation sector, is only 27% really kind of on the negative side of this confidence question, right? And so that leaves a large bulk of farmers that do ship crop. That does leave them in there's confidence. Obviously there's challenges, but I do have some sort of confidence that we can handle what's in front of us, although not exactly perfect, right? And perfection is elusive when it comes to grain logistics. There's a lot of variables that railroads and grain companies, and the terminals that they fight with. But I think this should be deemed as a positive take from farmers, in my opinion.
Yeah. On the topic of railways, we also had a question in there related to the degree to which we feel the railways are held accountable for their service performance. And so the options here, they are consistently held accountable at 4%. They are occasionally held accountable depending on the situation at 33%. So that's 37% feel that there is accountability. Then there is 42% they're rarely held accountable, and 12% they are never held accountable, and 10% weren't totally sure. So 37% feel there's accountability. How do you feel towards that, Shaun?
Yeah, and I guess it's one of the challenges here that comes to mind is, what is your expectation of accountability in order for you to feel there is accountability, right? That can be definitely a varying scale. When it comes to this, farmers know that if grain doesn't move, whether it's because of cold weather or it's labor issues, whatever that barrier, that clog is, that's not allowing efficient throughput, they don't want to, they just want the grain to move, right? And so those are your problems. Fix them so that my grain gets off farm and I get paid and I can, grow the next crop. The government has spent some time here with things like accountability. Now we have situations where both major railways, CPKC and CN, have to do a grain. It's the grain marketing plan for the year. We're about that time of the year where those start to come out. Here's what the intentions are of the railway in the year ahead to move grain. We have the Ag Transport Coalition that tries to hold the railways accountable when it comes to how their movement has actually been. So it'd be interesting for the people that think there's not enough accountability. What do you think needs to change so that your opinion is swayed more to the positive side? Those are just some thoughts.
Yeah. Well, we did give our panelists an opportunity to give a report card, I guess, a scorecard. So the question was, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is poor and 10 is excellent, how would you rate the current grain logistics infrastructure in Canada? And so this is showing the distribution of those results, and you can see, 2% said poor. Nobody gave it a 10, by the way. You'll notice 0% at a 10, 2% gave it a 9.
Yeah, perfection's elusive.
Yeah. Well, and then we've got an average here. If you average this out, a mean of 5.8. So I guess the logistics infrastructure scorecard here is just slightly better than average.
Yeah, and there's a lot of focus here by the Carney government in terms of trade infrastructure. Grain logistics infrastructure fits into that. So we'll have to watch closely with what the government intends to do in order to enable more investment into trade infrastructure, and what the railways do, because they will tell you that they have been investing. Farmers are always wanting to see more. We're always going to have that natural imbalance there when it comes to grain companies, railways, and what farmers think. We're also seeing a lot of consolidation in the railway sector as well, which also creates some change going forward. Of course, CPKC, that big North American merger, and now we also have Norfolk Southern and Union Pacific in the U.S. So we've got some consolidation happening as well. This 5.8 gives us an opportunity to maybe ask this question in a year or so and find out if we've moved more to the positive or maybe slid to the negative, and probably how the 2025-26 grain transportation year goes will have definitely an impact on that mean.
So that sums up our questions on grain logistics. So thanks to everybody for sharing your insights with us. Always appreciate it, especially during the busy time of year.
Yeah, great stuff. So you can send your feedback to shaney@realagriculture.com. And if you've missed them, check out some of our recent episodes where we looked at the performance of the Carney government, as well, of course, every quarter we're doing the Canadian Farmer Sentiment Index. So check that out as well. Until next time, cheers, everybody.